of course, it's a Thursday, which means we continue our road to Paris 2024. And with just 36 days to go before Paris 24, Harry Sainer has set his sights on having a memorable experience and hopefully returning with a medal for Team South Africa. Sainer is no stranger to international competition, having participated in the World Cup, Grand Prix, Zone Championships and the World Championships. But now he prepares to be South Africa's very first athlete to compete at the Olympics in fencing since 2008. He joins me now in studio to look ahead to this great assignment. And of course, Harry, it's going to be a big one because it is the Olympic Games. I did mention you've been participating in other competitions, but fencing, particularly South Africans at fencing, 2008 was the last time we saw that. So how do you feel having that pressure on your shoulders?
Well, no pressure. You know how it goes. As athletes, we always take as much pressure as we can, and I think I'm so ready for it. I can't wait to be blinded by the lights of that awesome stage. And again, thank you for having me.
Yeah, an early morning for you. A good morning to you. But you've been traveling. Take me through the preparations because you've just come back from France, and of course you've had a number of qualifying events leading up to this. So how well prepared do you think you are as you now prepare for this?
I think I'm very well prepared. The first few months before my actual qualifier was the most focused and ready I had to be. And I was really happy when I performed at my best at that qualifier and won. From then, yeah, just continuing much of the same, except for maybe a couple training camps that I just came back from. Yeah. And yeah, I'm feeling really happy, confident, excited. I just can't wait. Yeah.
And it must be quite, an experience being able to grow up with fencing for the number of years that you've started in the sport. Having started at the age of 13, what invited you into the sport? When you were thinking, okay, fencing, it's not that well known, so why is it that you decided that's the sport you want to take up?
Well, I think just as any other small kid where you see these awesome, cool people with swords and on TV, like lightsabers and all that sort of stuff. You begin to dream, and I dreamed, and I decided, you know what, I really want to try this sport. I asked my dad, and eventually he found a spot, and that's where I am now.
And how challenging was that? Because, I mean, you make it sound very easy. I asked my dad, he found a spot, but it's not really that simple, is it?
Well, I mean, yes, everything, taking everything into account. Travel time, school time, time after even compulsory sports at school practices, going then to fencing. It does take time and effort, and I mean, as a kid, maybe you're not so aware of it, but and so your parents might need to step in and help you with that. But now that I'm an adult and very much aware of it, I'm absolutely grateful for all the time and effort and just love that's been put into it, not by me, but by everybody else in my community as well.
So now you have a balancing act that you need to strike. And then this is the part that perhaps people would want you to let them into. You're a student, chasing your engineering degree, which is not a simple one.
No.
Part-time employee as well. And you have to prepare for the Olympics. So how do you strike that balance?
Well, I've definitely taken a few steps back from academics and working to prepare for the Olympics. You can't really have both all the time. You do need to give and take where you can. And yeah, it is just a matter of when you have to prioritize your academics and stuff, focusing on that, and then when you're coming to fencing, you focus on that. And I think it's really helped me to make sure and to know when, okay, right now I'm focusing on this, and then when I get back, I'll change my focus to the next thing.
And speaking of focus then, what's your focus for Paris?
Well, to do my best, to make my country proud and to make myself proud. And that's going for a medal and training with the medal-winning mentality. And I can't wait to see what happens.
Okay, so you brought some interesting gadgets into studio,
yes.
Right? So this is the opportunity we have to perhaps let our viewers in on the sport of fencing. And I know that's a sword, right? But
yes.
I want you to explain exactly how that is used. And the event that you have qualified for, of course, is slightly different because
yes.
you have to aim for the lights on the chest of your opponent. So take us through that, the sword,
okay.
the shield, and the event itself.
So this is my mask. This
yes.
protects my face. I've got some mascots from my family and obviously for the Olympics. And this is my épée, or sword or weapon or whatever you want to call it. And basically there's a button here. And when you press this button, the light will come on the machine because there's a little wire running through. And so when I hit my opponent, the light comes on. And so everybody at home, when you see my light come on, please scream for me. I'm sure I'll hear it. And yeah, luckily I do épée, which is the most simple weapon. There's no like extra rules you need to memorize or like guess as to what the referee is saying. It's just I hit, there's a light that comes on, and I get a point. So yeah.
And I'm sure you must have had a couple of injuries, a few oopsies with the sport, and a number of times where perhaps you might have been thinking of quitting. What has been your worst injury?
Well, luckily, fencing is actually one of the safest sports. It's even safer than golf. I mean, it is because of all the kit we wear. Yeah, my worst injury was, I think, golfer's elbow, which is quite interesting. Just from fencing too much, I got a bit of tendonitis, but I've healed that and I've done work to improve from that. Other than that, I rolled my ankle maybe once, and I also had to do some prehab and strengthening. But yeah, quitting obviously crosses your mind a lot of the time, and I just eventually thought, no quitting, let's just keep doing this. I'm sure if I keep going, I can get my dreams, and I qualified, so yeah.
So as an athlete, of course, there are some lonely times where you're feeling like you might not have the support. You've got your mascots there, and you did allude to them a bit earlier, but what purpose do they serve? Do they have names, and what do you use that for?
They don't have names, but my brother got me this, and obviously so it's a little close to my heart, and my girlfriend made me this. And yeah, I just thought it was really cute to have them with me, and just as a reminder that like when I am alone, I'm not alone. Everybody's with me. My friends, my family, my community. And yeah, I received overwhelming support when I qualified from people I didn't even realize were really following my journey. And it was just really amazing to just feel all that and to take it with me into my training and my preparations.
Now, the other thing that stood out about you is, of course, having been in the sport of fencing, you've now taken it upon yourself to grow the sport, take it out to others, make others interested in it. So how then would you encourage people who are perhaps looking at fencing, thinking, like yourself, the sword looks cool, I've seen it in movies, I want to get into it. What is the most rewarding part about being a fencer?
The most rewarding part is, I mean, it's just, it really is an expression. You can physically and mentally express yourself in all sorts of ways, and it does get like a lot of energy out of your body. And to work and think and fight and enjoy and have fun is just a part of any sport. And I think fencing just specifically does it in a very intense sort of way, and that when eventually you do score a point after all the work and preparation and trying to deceive your opponent, and it works, it ends up being a very satisfying experience.
Now, the other element is the funding element. I did mention that, of course, in terms of competition, 2008 was the last time we had an athlete competing, but it wasn't the last time we had an athlete qualifying to go to the Olympics for fencing. And the previous occasion was because of the stringent regulations from SASCOC. How has that made things a bit easier for you in terms of qualification as well, when there was a bit of a relaxation in the rules and the qualification criteria?
Well, luckily it gave me the opportunity to qualify, knowing that I could win this qualifying event that's sanctioned by the IOC and be able to qualify and then actually qualify is just so relieving, knowing that all your work and all your preparations can go into this one event, and if you win it, and which I did, you can go to the Olympics. And it was, yeah, it's just amazing, and I'm so glad that they did release those regulations a bit, because I think it's just more fair to us as athletes.
All right, so it's a final rundown, 36 days to go before Paris 2024. Everybody wants to get behind Team South Africa. How do people follow you and your journey?
Well, I'm on Instagram at Harry Sainer. I'll post there. I'm sure also on Facebook. I do need to stop being a little bit slack with my social media, been training too much. But yeah, you can just find me on those platforms.
Of course, wishing you all the best. We do hope that you'll be coming back home with a medal. No pressure.
No pressure.